Okay, so today we're talking about law of cosines. So we're going to use the law of cosines to solve problems. Your new vocabulary is the law of cosines. Take out that foldable. The law of cosines is in there. Out. I think you guys were all here. Yeah, it's the 6th hour. Okay, so if you recall from last week when we did law of sines, we did a lot of things with that main angle, and then directly across from it was that side that kind of matched up with that angle, right? It's the same way here, okay? But when we're dealing with, but obviously we just don't have enough information to apply the law of sines. So we have to do the law of cosines. Now you should see in your foldable these three. You have a squared equals b squared plus c squared minus 2bc cosine a, and then b squared and then c squared. So what they're saying here is that a squared, b squared, c squared, these are the sides of the triangle, okay? And each one is using that opposite angle, just like with law of sines, okay? So if we wanted to evaluate this a little bit, let's say we wanted to find, side A. Okay, let's say we don't have side A. I'm just going to white that out a little bit. That means we would use side C, side B, and angle A to solve for side A. Okay? And again, the same way, let's say we needed to solve for side B. That means we would use side A, side C, and angle B to solve for side B. Are we kind of understanding how this is working a little bit? Okay. So that's the overall idea. Now they do it in terms of ABC. We're going to be doing it in terms of the sides that we're given, because we're not always going to be given ABC as our triangle, right? We could have DEF, XYZ, all that. All right. So today I know it could be hard, but please follow along and write down everything. Okay. All right. So here's example 2. Now we're going to skip an example 1, so you can get rid of that. Just kind of cross it out. I didn't want to confuse you guys more than I needed to. Now I'm going to do this one. You don't have to necessarily write this one down. Then we'll do the you try it. So what's happening here, it says, what is BC to the nearest 10th? So here's BC. Here's our angle A. Here's 8 and 10. So these are the two sides and the angle we need to use to solve for this side. So this is going to look like this. BC squared equals AB squared. Oops, sorry. Plus AC squared minus 2 times AB plus, sorry. I don't know why I put a plus there. There we go. Times AC, and then times the cosine of angle A. And let me see if I can get a brighter color over here. Okay. So now what we do is we substitute in this information. BC doesn't change. We're going to have BC squared equals AB, which is 8 squared, plus AC, which is 10 squared, minus 2 times 8 times 10 times the cosine of 57 degrees. Now, here's my recommendation to you using these calculator skills. Type this whole thing into your calculator as you see it. I don't need to know the decimal equivalent, but just type it in and make sure you're still in degree mode. So now you're left with b squared equals some answer, right? Some decimal. We still need to get b squared by itself, so I'm going to take the square root of that. Now here's how you type that in your calculator. You're going to type square root, hit your second button, and then hit the negative button. That's your ANS. So you should, when you're done, it should look like this. Well, maybe with parentheses, right? And then hit enter. If you get 8.8, you did this correctly. Did anybody not get 8.8? Okay. All right, let's move on to the you try it. Is anybody still working on it? I just want to make sure. Okay. All right, let's move on to the you try it, where everything's blank. We are on our own now. So what is DE? And I'm gonna again do this without all the rigmarole along the side, right? So I'm looking for DE, so that is what I'm finding. So DE squared equals EF squared plus DF squared minus 2 times EF times DF times the cosine of angle F. From here, I substitute in DE. We don't have anything, so I'm leaving it like that. EF is 6 squared. DF is 8. That's squared minus 2 times 6 times 8 times the cosine of 62 degrees. So again, remember, this goes in your calculator. Then you're going to take the square root, parentheses A, N, S. And the reason I'm square rooting is because this is squared, so I had to take the square root of both sides. Now someone tell me, what does DE approximately equal to? Emma?
7.4.
That sounds right. I want you guys to try B. Show of hands, who's still working on B? Alex. I can't do it after school this week.
Yeah, I know. So we could do.
You have to choose study halls at this point.
Yeah.
So which two study halls do you have?
I don't think I could stay for lunch.
Lunch on
Uh, 6 a.m. 6 p.m. So I
If you
could
want to
do
do the full
6
hour, fine
a.m.
with that.
6 p.m.
I just need to know the day.
for what days don't work for you?
Oh no, I'm teaching, so it doesn't matter to me.
They've only have today, tomorrow, Wednesday. No, maybe no. Definitely.
Let's do Thursday.
Thursday is the only day that works.
Okay, Thursday it is. All right, ladies and gentlemen, What do we have as an answer here for letter B? Go ahead. What'd you get? 24.8. Who wants to show it? Good, Emma.
Shortcut sheet is good enough. Now they're showing you get more sheeting food. What else is there? Run out of nicknames. So 55.2. Look at the angle.
All right, let's check this out. So we've got GH squared equals EF squared plus HJ squared minus 2 GJ H times HJ times the cosine of 110. So very good. All right, so if we substitute in, that's going to be GH squared is equal to 12 squared plus 18 squared minus 2 times 12 times 18 times the cosine of 110. All right, so put this in your calculator and then take the square root of whatever you get. You should get 24.8. The only way you wouldn't get 24.8 is A, number one, you forgot parentheses or something. B, you're not in degree mode. Or C, there shouldn't be a C. So, sound good? Questions? Hey, guess what? Now we're gonna move on to angles. Can someone erase the board for me, please? Thank you. All right, so let's talk about this. We have the optimal tilt for Keenan's solar panel is between 58 and 60 degrees to the horizontal. Has Keenan placed his solar panel in an optimal angle? So it says write the equation using the law of cosines, then use the inverse cosine to find the measure of angle P. So the measure of angle P is right here, guys. Well, hold on, something a little brighter. Here we go. Is right here. All right. Gosh, that's not working either. That's a little here. Is that better? Now you can see it. Now you can see it. Okay. So here's the deal. We don't have the angle. We got to find the angle. Right, Tony? Right, Tony? Yeah. What do we use to find those angles usually? Say it loud, say it proud. The inverse. And we only have to worry about cosine. Isn't that grand? All right, but this is not going to work out the way you think it's going to. So we have to be careful. All right. So the first step is always the setup. And just like before, we're using this side opposite. So they actually have it written right here that QR squared is equal to PR squared plus PQ minus 2 times PQ QR and cosine of P. And then when you substitute in, you're left with the 19 squared equals 18 squared plus 20 squared. And you get the gist. Everything's substituted in. Now, here's the thing though. They're skipping a lot of information here. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to white all this out because I want to use this space. I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just saying they're skipping things that will probably be helpful to you guys. Okay. So let me just white that out and then I'll write right over it. Okay, so the first thing I want you guys to do here is I want you to tell me what is 19 squared? Tony? What'd you get? 361, you said? Okay, I just couldn't hear you, sorry. All right, so we got 361. What's 18 squared? God. 324. plus 20 squared, 400. We know that. Now someone tell me, what is 2 times 18 times 20? Yep. What'd you get? 720. So we're going to have 720 times the cosine of angle P. Now, it is really, really tempting to do 324 plus 400 minus 720, right? Yeah? Yeah? No. No. Why am I screaming no right now? Because this is where every student makes mistakes. Tony, tell me.
Is it because it's 700 cosine and if you have those two, it's not whatever that is cosine?
Yes. The cosine is like your variable right now. Would we add 324 and 400 to 720 and then subtract 720x? No, we wouldn't. So you guys are going to have to be very careful with that. Do not subtract the 720. It is stuck with the cosine like glue right now, okay? But here is one thing you can do. You can subtract the 324 and the 400 from each side. Now someone tell me 361 minus 324 minus 400. What do we get? It'll be negative, and that is fine. Go ahead. Negative 363. Okay. Now, to get the 720 on the other side, I can divide. Okay. So I'm going to divide this, negative 720. So now I'm left with the cosine of P equals 363 over 720. But remember, I'm solving for the angle. So what do I do now? Inverse. So the measure of angle P is going to equal, I'm going to move that, sorry. The measure of angle P is going to equal the inverse cosine of 363 over 720, which gives us about what angle? Rounded to the 10th. Go ahead. 59.7. So they weren't wrong. It was between 58 and 60 degrees, right? Real close to 60, though. All right. Questions on this before I move on to the you try it. Let's take a peek. So in this one, they want us to solve for angle X. We have the three sides. So the angle in question is this happy fellow right here. That means the one across from that is what all this equals to. So I'm going to have 4 squared equals 6 squared plus 7 squared minus 2 times 6 times 7 times the cosine of X. This leaves us with 16, 36, 49 minus, what's 12 times 7? 60 is 574, I want to say. Yeah. 12 times 7. What is it? 84. Right? Okay, now, remember, I'm not touching this. No, this does not exist. But I am going to subtract the 36 and the 49 from each side. 16 minus 36 minus 49, what does that give me? Tony? Negative 69. All right. Now I'm going to divide both sides by negative 84. This leaves me with the cosine of x equals the ratio. And then I find the measure of angle x is equal to the inverse cosine of 69 over 84. What is that angle measure? You got 34.8? I think that's right. Sorry, I loaned my book to some people. 34.8. Sound good? Do the next one on your own. All right, show of hands. Who's still working on part B? Who wants to show me part B? Ooh. No volunteers, eh? Tony, go for it. Way to volunteer as tribute. Can't whistle well. Good job. Okay, so if we take a look at the board. All right, so remember, this part you can't do anything with. You're going to have to subtract it each time, okay? So it looks like he subtracted 185 from each side and then divided both sides by the 176 that was with the cosine and then took the inverse. So this gives you the measure of angle P equals that. Any questions on that? All right, we have one more example. So are we good with writing this down? We're good, okay. Clear the screen. Someone could erase the board. I'd appreciate it. All right, so it says the district ranger wants to build. Thank you. Build a new ranger station at the location of the fire tower because it would be closer to Bald Mountain than the old station is. Is the district ranger correct? Explain. So if we take a look here, we see that we have, I just kind of took this picture and I created that new path and they want us to find this. So I'm going to just label it X. Okay. So when I look at this, I'm going to have x squared equals 2.1 squared plus 1.4 squared minus 2 times 2.1 times 1.4 times the cosine of 49 degrees. Someone tell me, what is that distance between Bald Mountain and Fire Tower? All right, what do we think? Jackson, you got it? Take the square root. 1.6. Very good. So was the ranger correct? Yeah. All right, now this 1.6 we need to use for the you try it. Okay? So you're going to want to draw this picture. I included the 1.6 right here. Because what they want you to do now is find the angle. It says what angle is the new path that the new path forms with the old path at Bald Mountain. So we already know the ranger station. What angle are we trying to find? Are we trying to find this one? Or are we trying to find the one by the fire tower? Which one, guys? Emma? Bald Mountain, yeah. So we're finding this. Now what I'm just going to clear the screen and rewrite it. I want you guys to find that angle by yourselves. Go. Show of hands, who is still working on this one? Anybody want to go up and show me how smart they are? Should I call on someone? Oops. Connor, you are the chosen one, sir. Any problems or complaints can be directed towards Delta Math. All right, if we take a look here, all right, so we have the setup of 1.4 squared equals 2.1 squared plus 1.6 squared minus 2 times 2.1 times 1.6 times the cosine of x, or whatever we decided to call it. All right, again, remember, this part gets multiplied together, giving you, it looks like 70 or 6.72. Okay. This is 4.41. This is 96. This is 2.56, and this is 1.96. Subtract these two, divide by this, take the inverse cosine. You should get, for the measure of angle x, which we appropriately called it, as 41.8. Wow, sorry. 41.8. There we go. Questions on this? Like I said, kind of a longer lesson today, but hopefully you guys, the hardest part of this is the visualization. Everything else is pretty easy. Okay? Any questions? All right, homework is on Realize. And remember, if you didn't finish the warm-up, make sure you complete that as a part of your homework today as well. Okay? Those who watch at home, have a great day.